Gary Hesseltine.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the room again. Obviously, this is unexpected, and I am very shy, as you can tell. I will try to speak very fast for the dual translation at the back, because I got told off yesterday for talking too fast. So I will try to speak a lot slower. All right, so we're now going to do an unexpected representation. It's only going to be for 20 minutes because I know that Avi Loeb is going to be talking to us soon. And you don't want to miss Avi Loeb and the Galileo project. So, how many people in the room yesterday did not see my presentation on ICER yesterday? Okay, so, thank you, put your arms down. So how many put your arms up if you did see it? Right, please leave now, go. All those have seen it. I'm only joking, I'm only joking. Only joking, okay. So, here we go then, a quick 20-minute rundown, unexpectedly, on ICER. First slide. This was the original. This was part of the original group from Moscow 2018. Its origins began earlier in 2018 when Roberto Pinotti and Donald Schmidt from the United States went to Changkong in China. There was a Chinese initiative. They apparently wanted to create some kind of disclosure movement. So, that led to many people being approached, researchers, to actually make a conference in Moscow. I fortunately was one of those people that was approached, and so we ended up in Moscow. In Moscow, we held discussions with the leader of the Chinese group. And this is the only photograph I know of those talks taking place. But we agreed some important things. And the first thing that we agreed was that one country, one vote. Now, in democratic terms, that's very important. And I suggested it because I didn't want undue influence because one country is bigger than another. We're all part of the world. We're all part of the human race. No one country is better than any other country, in my opinion. So every country should get a vote, and it should be an equal vote. So any members of ICER, which are representing their countries, they have the same vote. So the fact that China or America can be huge countries, it's still one vote. And when we think about San Marino, a small republic, one vote the same as China or Russia. It's, to me, democratic. The other thing that we really agreed on as well is that there would be an oath. Everybody that joined ICER, that represented ICER as a national representative or deputy, would have to sign an oath. And that's the oath. And it came from the Moscow conference. So, all the ICER representatives that got up on stage yesterday had to sign this oath. And that oath basically says, I, Gary Heseltine, affirm that it is my personal belief that an extraterrestrial non-human intelligence is interacting with planet Earth. Unequivocal. The UFO issue is complex. Yes, it is. But it is important to acknowledge that it is real and that it acts with intelligence. Unequivocal. My belief is based both on physical, i.e. radar, film, photographic and trace evidence, and the testimony of highly qualified people from around the world. And furthermore, I am willing to stand up in public and say the same thing. So that was a very clear message that if we are going to take a stance and create a non-government office agency, an NGO, an international NGO, registered in Portugal, non-profit, non-political, that we're here to do a job in the long term, to try to take this subject, the reality of this subject, to the highest levels of governance, including the United Nations. When we started, we had not a clue what we were going to do. None of us had ever set up an international NGO, but what we did, we set up working groups, research how you legally set up an NGO, research what we're going to do if we do set up one. And so various working groups were created. They went about their work. We began really preparing in June of 2020, and that was a result of the COVID pandemic had changed things. Prior to COVID, some people use Skype, some people use Zoom to stay in touch with relatives, have business meetings. But when the pandemic hit the world, nobody could get to see their relatives anymore. So the only way you could talk to each other was online. So therefore, there was this massive increase in the use of social media platforms, video viewing platforms, to stay in touch. And I realized that actually we'd probably just increased the process of history by several years. And it was one of the few positives of what otherwise was a bad pandemic. That people were suddenly working from home, staying in contact via video screens. It increased through by chance. So when we did that, I realized that there was an opportunity for all the ICER proposed members, and that's all it was at the time, to get together and actually start organizing. So in June of 2020, that's when we began to organize. I took out a Zoom account and started contacting the people I'd already spoken to. We'd already made, people like Roberto who'd been to China, Don Schmidt had been to China. They were the original people involved. And the idea was, come on, let's do it. Why lose this goodwill that we've built up? Yes, the Chinese have dropped out. We don't have money, but let's try anyway. So that's what we did. We began to organize. And after 11 months, we were able to be in a position where we could launch publicly. Okay? So by then, by May of 2021, so just a few months ago, 5 months ago, under 5 months, we were in a position to launch. And when we launched, it was on the 25th of May, 2021. A worldwide press release went out, which is that one there. And straight away, we are catapulted into the glare of the media. And we did lots of media in our various countries. Now, why is ICER being created in the first place? Well, if we believe that these things are real, they act with intelligence, we think that you should be preparing for all that now. The public has a psychology. If we do nothing, we will run into a brick wall when it is announced that it's probably extraterrestrial non-human. That disclosure event, I believe, is closer now than at any time in my life, and I'm now 61. So we are closer to the disclosure that maybe we all seek than we've ever been. But we have to keep the pressure on, and we have to do things that bring attention to this reality. And ICER is one of those agencies that can do that. So, what do we do as ICER? One of the first things that we set out to do was create awareness programs. Awareness programs are educational programs to all sectors of society, corporate, military, religious, children. If it was announced tomorrow that ET was real and non-human intelligences were acting with planet Earth, that would be a big thing. And for some people, it would be a traumatic thing. Because some people would think, alien invasion, I'm running to the hills, I can't cope. Mental health issues. The COVID pandemic highlighted something that was missed. Nobody realized the mental health effects of lockdowns that created through the pandemic. And now there are huge mental health issues because of the lockdowns, the psychological effect. Well, if it was announced tomorrow that aliens were real and they were here and interacting, then the world is not going to stop like it did for Orson Welles in 1938 when he did that famous broadcast and thousands of people fled to the hills in America because they thought there was an alien invasion from Mars. The world has moved on. We are not in that position now. But a proportion, maybe 20% of the world, would be significantly traumatized by this brick wall, this reality, this uncertainty in an uncertain world already. So we think that the best way to prepare people psychologically is to create awareness programs, and we should be doing it now. We should be doing this in schools, in universities now. So we're developing those courses now. And as we move towards this disclosure moment, which will not be the President of the United States standing on the White House lawn saying ET is real. That's likely to never happen. It will be done by stealth. It will be done by a process of elimination. It's not the Americans. Now we're in a two-horse race. It's either foreign technology or from elsewhere. So we're in a two-horse race already. You think about that. We are in a two-horse race. It's either foreign technology or, this is from the public point of view and the press point of view, a two-horse race. We're either foreign technology or it's from elsewhere. The more and more the data is studied by scientists, and we fully encourage that as ICER, the more we are certain that it will show that the technological data is far too advanced for it to be foreign technology, either China or Russia. So when they are ruled out, you're only left with one thing. It's from elsewhere, either extraterrestrial or non-human. And that's the likely scenario of disclosure, not the White House lawn. It will be a process of elimination, but they may admit that it's not for an adversary, so then they're going to really have to say by default, it's from elsewhere. So that's the kind of disclosure we're looking at. So we think as ICER that really we should be preparing for this now. Yeah? Rather than hit a brick wall. But of course, it's difficult without the world's media on board. And this is why we are trying to, in our early establishment phase, trying to get ICER promoted where we are looked at as a global organization. There are many very good UFO groups, research organizations doing very good work on UAP. But none of them are truly global, and ICER is now 28 countries. And we are obviously looking to get more countries. So 28 countries on 5 continents. Australasia, South America, Europe, North America, Canada. We're pretty much everywhere. We don't have much of an imprint in Asia yet, or Africa, but we are trying. But this is not a country problem. This is a UAP problem that is worldwide. It doesn't belong to any one country. It is a worldwide phenomenon. The reality of what happens in America, in England, is no different from what happens in Hong Kong, China, or elsewhere. It happens everywhere. But we have to make this push now to get this stigma removed to the point where we can have open discussions, where people in ICER are a mixture of scientists, of academics, and leading UFO researchers. Where else do you get that? You don't. We've got to get rid of all the egos that says my group's better than your group. We've got to put the egos aside and say we all work together for the benefit of the human race. There is only one species on this planet, the human race. It doesn't recognize countries. UFOs do not recognize borders. They fly wherever they want with impunity. It is a worldwide issue. So we have to address it as a worldwide issue. Therefore, that's why ICER was created, to try to bring attention to this now. This was the moment when Francisco Correa, our treasurer, he registered in Portugal proper statutes. We are a proper international NGO, there for the long term. This is the leadership, the executive council. These are some of the people, scientists, academics, UAP researchers. Lakazar Filipov, who was with us yesterday, he's a physicist, astrophysicist. He taught Bulgarian astronauts. That's how important he is in Bulgaria. We've got social scientists, engineers working with us. We've got people like Erling Strand, who gave his presentation with regards to Hesseltine and his research in Norway. Fantastic scientific data, research. We are all in favour of scientific data. And we think the more scientific data there is, the more it will highlight how real the advances in technology of this other civilization, civilizations, species, whatever they are, whether they're interdimensional, multiverse, whatever, or extraterrestrial. It's something interacting with planet Earth. These are some of the people. We have now set up our own scientific research group. We are now beginning to go public with our research. We have got a statement that we put out yesterday, and I'll read it out again, because this is only the second time this has gone out, but this will be released during next week to the world. And it's a position on the contact issue. And ICER's byline is International Coalition for Extraterrestrial Research, preparing for contact. So we have to address this byline of preparing for contact. It's a complicated issue. But this is the press statement that was read out for the first statement yesterday. ICER acknowledges that contact and interaction between humans and extraterrestrial non-human intelligences, NHIs, on a global scale is a reality. Think about that. It's real. People are being taken. People are having contact experiences. It's complicated though. Second paragraph. ICER accepts that human interactions with extraterrestrials stroke non-human intelligences may occur in a number of complex forms. Thus, ICER is aware there are many claims as to what the definition of contact is, and this requires further research. It's so complicated, ICER doesn't have all the answers. Of course we don't. But we're accepting that it's real, and we should be researching it to find out more. Last paragraph. Given the profound future implications for humanity, ICER pledges to assist in raising public awareness of the contact experience worldwide. That's why we're doing conferences, to now promote what we're trying to do. So that's a big, big press release statement, and it will be interesting to see how it's received by the media. This is the basic structure. All the countries. We are now 28 countries. We launched with 27 countries. Recognizing that there is good work done by the likes of SKU, MUFON, etc. But we're not a reporting agency. We've gone beyond lights in the sky. This is real. We're talking craft from somewhere, whether it be extraterrestrial or interdimensional or whatever, non-human. Like I said, this is a global phenomenon. It's not about a country. And as Luis Elizondo said to me recently in San Marino, we have to get away from one country dominating this subject. And what he was referring to was his own country, America, that have dominated this subject for over 70 years. We have to now come together as the human race, one species, where all egos are set aside, and no scientist is better than a ufologist, no academic is better than a scientist. We should all be humans, sat around the table for the benefit of mankind, talking to each other like adults, not children. We have to address this issue as a global, worldwide, human issue. Now, before I finish, there was one representative who did not arrive yesterday because of a flight problem, but he's now with us. He is the 11th national representative to appear at this conference. Never happened before. We had 10 people on stage yesterday. I now want to introduce Rodrigo Fuenzalida from Chile, who has come all the way from Chile for this conference. Come up here, please, Rodrigo.
Rodrigo, tenéis 7 minutos, 7 minutes, please.
Does anybody want to get a photograph? This man has traveled from South America just for this conference. He goes back on Monday. He's a guy I've been talking to regularly online. But I've never met him. But now he's coming together, face to face, as a person, a real person, showing that the organization is growing. He's an important part.
Rodrigo, 5 minutos porque tenemos un tema, ¿eh?
Ok. ¿Me escuchan bien, no? Bueno, muy agradecidos antes que todo por la posibilidad de estar acá compartiendo la experiencia OVNI desde Chile con todos ustedes. Agradecido también de Gary, que ha sido el tremendo impulsor de esta iniciativa, que es una iniciativa que yo creo que va y ya está gestando resultados realmente promisorios en lo que implica la colaboración en tanto civil en torno al tema de los ovnis. Es súper importante lo que está aconteciendo cuando hablamos de cooperación civil, porque casi toda la estructura de estos reconocimientos que estamos viviendo hoy día vienen de Estados Unidos dentro del ámbito industrial militar. Pero necesitamos que los civiles, los que realmente estamos a cargo de lo que es producción de conocimiento científico, la gran parte de conocimiento científico viene del mundo civil, viene de las universidades, viene de la gente que tiene a veces ganas de intentar entender las cosas por lo que éstas significan encima que estar motivados por otro tipo de intereses que son los que a veces nos despiertan dudas de cómo se maneja el tema, ¿no? Así que por lo menos la idea de ICER es que sea la representación de todos nosotros, de todos los que estamos acá, en tanto que queremos saber lo que está pasando con los no identificados dentro de una cooperación activa y que va a ser completamente transparente. Así que les doy las gracias por escucharnos, por aprendamos de ICER y de seguro les vamos a tener muy buenas noticias. Muchas gracias.